Hey, welcome everybody. I'm excited you're here. It is Tuesday. It is 3 p.m. And Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, we get together and we do a weekly career coaching call. And this is open to everybody, right? It's open to everybody, anybody. All you got to do is sign up. We get you the call-in information each week. And what we do is we start with 20 to 30 minutes on a topic that's relevant to you in corporate America, working your job, and then we open it up. We do some open QA. You can ask questions about the topic. You can ask questions about whatever your situation is, about where you want to go, your goals, how you get a promotion, how you get into that new interesting piece of work, whatever it might be. So you're all muted right now. When we get done with the content portion here at the beginning, then you can unmute, you can ask your questions, we'll have discussion, stuff like that. So let's hop right in and get going. So this week we're talking about being an entrepreneur at work. So, entrepreneur is a pretty big word. We associate the word entrepreneur with people who are wildly successful, right? Like we all know Jeff Bezos, who started Amazon. We know Elon Musk, who started PayPal and Tesla and SolarCity and SpaceX, and Oprah for Oprah Winfrey Network. We know who else? We know Cher Wang, who founded HTC, and Denise Cotes, who started whatever you might call it, one of the largest betting sites in the world, Bet365.com. So, we know these entrepreneurs who are very public, who start companies and run companies and sell companies and things like that. But what a lot of people don't realize is that entrepreneurship is just a simple pattern. It's just a simple three-step plan. There's just three parts to being an entrepreneur, and entrepreneurs are actually all around you all the time in corporate America. You just don't necessarily call them that. These are the people who you look up to at work or who you know at work because they have a reputation that precedes them for being somebody who can go into a space and make a change or make a delivery or something like that. I know at Expedia, there's many people who are well known within the company for being able to get into a space and make something happen, right, in a very positive way where they solve a problem and they get people rallied to a cause. And that's exactly what an entrepreneur at work is. It's so what I want to do here in this kind of first part is I want to recognize that the word entrepreneur is associated with people who are larger than life, right? But you can also associate entrepreneur with the people who are around you right now, and you can be an entrepreneur at work. It's really, really straightforward. It doesn't take any special skills. It doesn't take any special blessing. There's none of that. You just need a technique, and once you have this little three-step technique, you're going to learn it. You can learn everything you need to make it work, so that you could be given that same title of entrepreneur, right? And that's what I want to empower you with here. So let's talk about what these three things are. These three steps. I'm going to give you the three steps, and then I'm going to give you some examples from my career where I use these three steps. And they help me solve big problems at work and get recognized and really advance my career. Because, see, the thing is, entrepreneurs in corporate America are easily recognizable, right? They communicate pretty well, and they are able to get things done that other people can't get done, and they do it in a way that's really positive and all that kind of stuff, right? And that gets recognized. People know that. Management knows that, and those people get recognized. Their career advances faster. They're able to choose their roles, right? There's a lot of benefits to being an entrepreneur at work. So here we go. So here's the three things. So here's the three things that entrepreneurs do that you can do. Number one is they see gaps, right? Gaps are places where the company could be making a lot more money, but it's not, or the company might be able to save a lot more money, but it's not. Or it might be able to work way more effectively or with way fewer people or something like that. It's really about saving money, right? Or it might be a gap in the product. It might be something that the company can do that's new on the sales side or with the product, right? But again, that's making money. So it's really about gaps in making money or losing money or spending money. entrepreneurs see those gaps, right? They don't have to see all of them. They just have to see one. You just have to see one. So, okay, so let me give you number 2. So the second thing that entrepreneurs do is they decide that they're going to go lead the effort to close a gap, or to, we'll call the make more, we'll call that an opportunity, right? And we'll call the spend less, we'll call that a gap. So entrepreneurs at work make the decision that they're going to lead the charge on realizing an opportunity or closing a gap. And it's not like you have to ask permission, right? If it's big and it's going to take up a ton of your time, yep, you better be talking with your boss. But if it's not big, if it's something you can just go do, entrepreneurs they decide to go do it, right? Okay, so deciding to go do it. Now let's talk a little bit about that, because if you're deciding to go do something that just you can do, like you by yourself sitting at your desk maybe in the next couple of days can fix it, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something bigger than that. I'm talking about something that's going to take more than just you, right? It's cool that you could see the gap. It's cool that you could close the gap. But if we really want to talk about somebody who's going to be recognized as an entrepreneur, you need to be seeing gaps that are pretty good size. Gaps that are going to take more than one person's effort to take care of. So that's number 2. You decide to go after the opportunity or gap as the leader. And then the third thing that entrepreneurs do is that they improvise their way to reaching that goal. Okay, so this one, entrepreneurs are not always successful. Many entrepreneurs fail, and every entrepreneur fails along the way, even if the outcome is eventually successful. And so that's why I call it improvise, right? So I don't know what the opportunity is. I don't know if it's a change in your product. I don't know if it's offering a new product. I don't know if it's talking to customers differently. I don't know if it's turning, service into sales, because that's really the new sales, right? When customer needs help, that's the best time to help them buy something more, because they've got a gap. I don't know if it's one of those. I don't know if it's like your company's losing money, or your software is ineffective and so it takes you a long time to do something, or I don't know what it is. But if you can see the gap and you can decide to go after it, then you basically just have to stumble your way forward. You have to make it up along the way. Now, there's some things you can do that you'll learn or that you may already know are effective, right? Maybe you're a project manager. You know how to manage projects. Great. Manage your way through it. Maybe you're a dev and you see a problem in code, or that you can write some software for. You can do, something like that. Great. Go do it. But you don't have to necessarily have the skills to go do it. You just have to decide you're going to go be successful. You're going to go try it and try it and try it and try to go reach that goal. And you will get the help along the way. You'll ask for the help along the way, right? You'll do the things you need to go after that goal, because you decided you're going to go lead it. You're going to go get it done. So that's the 3 things. Number 1, entrepreneurs at work see gaps. Number 2, they decide to go after an opportunity or a gap. And number 3, they just improvise their way through reaching that goal and figuring out what they have to lead informally, maybe formally, a team that goes after that opportunity or goes after that gap and reaches that opportunity or closes that gap. So that's really all there is to it. And then if you're just starting out, if you've never done this before, if you've never thought about this before, what you do is you just go pick something small. You go look for it. So you start by just trying to find the gaps around you. Once you can see a gap, you've got number 1. Now, if it's a gap that's a good one or an opportunity that's a good one, and you decide I'm going to go do it, so we're talking about pretty small here, great, now go do it. Now maybe you need to go talk to somebody else. Maybe you need to go get some people on board. I don't know what you have to do. But go take that step and go get that win. Because once you've done it once, you can go after a bigger gap because you've learned some stuff, right? You probably had some missteps along the way. They're probably pretty small, but you reached your goal. Great, now go after a bigger one. You just got to go see a bigger gap. And we can talk about how to see gaps if that's something that's interesting to you all. Every time I've had people working for me, I've had a stream of people coming to me who see a gap, and they aren't willing to go on to step 2, which is decide to go lead it, right? And so generally, folks don't have trouble seeing gaps. We can talk about strategies for finding gaps too. Just bring that up when we get into Q&A if you're interested. So let's shift a little bit, and let me give you some examples of gaps that I saw that I was able to work through in my career that really brought focus to what I was doing and allowed me to have more flexibility in my career and advance in my career that I wouldn't have had if I didn't see the gap and I didn't go after it, right? Okay, so one of the gaps that my team went after, I was on a team working in software at Expedia, and we found an opportunity to handle credit card payments in a new way, in a way that meant that we weren't going to have as many customers who didn't pay. More customers were going to be able to pay for their stuff, and we were going to be able to collect more of the money that that customers were trying to give us. And so it was a gap, right? Basically, it was you could look at it as an opportunity because the company could make more money, but it was a gap because there were a whole bunch of things that could get in the way of Expedia getting its money. And for those of you who don't know, credit card processing is really complex. There's a whole bunch of different banks involved and payment networks and things like that. And so there's a lot of opportunity in there for things to go wrong. So my team was a data team, and we were in the payment space, and we saw this gap, and we decided to fire up an effort to go close it. And so what we did is we basically, so we could see it, right? We saw the gap. So as the team leader, I basically just decided that we were going to go fix it. Like, that was a big one. And we had a bunch of data that could show it to us, and this has existed for years, and it was difficult, and that's one of the reasons that nobody had gone and fixed it in the past. But we just decided to go do it, and I decided that I would just lead it and that we would go after the problem. And so from that point forward, I didn't necessarily know the things I needed to know to fix it or to solve it, or I didn't know who I would necessarily need to work with or get help from at the beginning, but I knew the goal, and I could talk clearly about the goal and about how big the opportunity was, and that allowed me to go talk to my boss. It allowed me to go talk to other people at the company about the problem. I was able to get support from lots of other people. I was able to get their time. I was able to get their skills. We got to a common understanding of the problem. We made sure that we were actually having this gap, and we came up with all sorts of ideas on ways to go after solving it. And then we started moving on a few of them. And after some number of months, we closed that gap. And the numbers were big, right? And we're talking, Expedia is a big company, and so even something small ends up being really big. It was really big in the end. And so there were a lot of zeros behind the amount of money that the company was now able to make, that it wasn't able to make before. And so that really allowed me in my career the opportunity to step up, right? I was then recognized as somebody who could find a problem and could figure out who to bring together, what skills I would need, lay in a plan, and bring a whole bunch of people together to go fix it. That's being an entrepreneur at work. And that's one, that's one that you won't always have the opportunity to go after, but fortunately I was in the position to do that, and I had the support to go do that. So that's a big thing. But you can also find little things, right? You might be on a team of 2 or 3 people, and maybe the way you're working takes a lot of extra time. And you can see a way where you can find a tool or something, you can suggest a change to the process or the paperwork or to the way teams are working together that's going to make things a lot easier, right? Those are examples of smaller things you can do, gaps you can see or opportunities you can go after that'll allow you to build up to bigger and bigger things. And every time you do, and I'm telling you, every time you do one, more people are going to recognize you for the skills you've got and the initiative you have. And these are qualities that are sought after in corporate America. So these are some examples of how to be an entrepreneur at work. So we talked about some entrepreneurs, we talked about how they're really just doing 3 things, right? They're seeing the gaps and the opportunities, they're deciding to go after them, and then they're improvising their way through it. They're keeping focused on the goal, and they're constantly trying to move toward the goal and move the group toward the goal. And that's all you have to do to be an entrepreneur. It's real simple. And then we talked about a couple of examples. So this one is pretty quick today. These are like the seeds, right? These are the seeds of how to do this, and I want to kind of get those seeds and get those thoughts inside of you so that you can start thinking about what you've got in your career at your job, and we can talk about them. So if you're seeing some gaps, or if you want help seeing some gaps, or you're trying to figure out how to improvise your way through something, or kind of wherever you are, let's get your questions in here. Let's get your ideas in here. And I'd love, if you've got experience doing this too, I'd love to hear any guidance you have for other people here on the call that would help as people are trying to become that entrepreneur, or as they're trying to become recognized for that, and they're trying to move themselves forward. So let's go ahead and roll into the Q&A portion of the call. So go ahead and unmute yourself and just hop on in here if you want to speak up.